For fans who just started tuning into the 90-Day Universe with Hunt for Love, I'd love if you could like walk us through your relationship history from like Larissa to Courtney today.
Well, let me tell you a story, I guess. Sit around and listen. So originally, I was engaged to a Brazilian named Larissa, and I met her in Mexico. And we went to a resort together for 5 days. I proposed. I applied for the K-1 visa. A year or so later, she came to America, and then, well, our marriage only lasted 6 months, but it was pretty. We had a lot of ups and downs, let me tell you. And of course, it was all shown on 90 Day Fiancé. And then after our divorce, I started dating another Brazilian named Jess, who was already in America. She was an au pair. We met. She came to Vegas on a girls trip, and we really hit it off. And she took me to Chicago. And she took me to Brazil to meet her family, and we definitely had a lot of challenges. It was kind of like a summer fling, honestly. But we had an adventure, I guess. But during this time, I became friends with Vanessa, who lived in Las Vegas. She was a fan of the show, and then Larissa and I, our season that we did. And she was married, and she was going through her own divorce. So I had this friendship with Vanessa, and then I was dating Jess, and then eventually I cheated on Jess with Vanessa. Our relationship kind of, graduated up to that level. And Jess and I broke up, and then Vanessa and I kind of started out slow. I asked her to be my girlfriend, kind of only really right before I proposed to her. Actually, we had this off again, on again, unofficial type of relationship, and then so I proposed to her. She said yes, and we took a while, and we got married in secret in Reno. We drove to Reno for some reason, and we got married. I didn't tell my mother, didn't tell anybody. But then we showed that, we announced it on the tell-all for Single Life that we got married and everything. And then pretty much after that, I moved with her because my mom had moved to Canada with her boyfriend Tony at that point. So we were kind of parting ways in Vegas, and Vanessa and I wanted to start our marriage out doing something else. So we moved to Reno together. We were there for 3 years. And, pretty much, I was, living the dream, I guess, 9 to 5 job and little housewife and all that. But we just really couldn't figure out how to go from being friends or, maybe to marriage. We just couldn't figure out how to do it to make each other happy. We kind of grew apart. And then I broke my leg in 2022 on the trampoline. So that kind of really put a lot of strain on our marriage. And eventually it just fell apart altogether. And then that's it. Yes.
Yeah. And then on Hunt for Love, things are brewing with Courtney.
Oh yes, and then of course there's Courtney, Hunt for Love. It's funny because when I first met Courtney, there was a masquerade party, and as soon as we did that masking process, we knew who each other was. She came up to me and she said, "I'm not gonna like you." I'm like, "Why is that?" She said, "I know your exes and you're trouble." And I'm like, "Okay." But then the next day, I saw her in the jungle, just like standing there, like she didn't know what was going on. She was lost. I was lost too, because it was a big place. We didn't know where anything was. And I asked her if she wanted to go have lunch, and she said yes. So we just started hanging out. We had lunch, and it just really kind of just took off from there. We just kind of just hanging out, and anytime we have downtime filming, we hang out or meals, or we talk about what we just filmed or things coming up. We had this really great friendship and bonding over such a crazy experience. And then, of course, it's just as soon as I was starting to get comfortable with everything at the resort, meeting people, making connections, I break my leg. And then Courtney was still there for me. And she was there. I happened right outside of her room, basically. I was leaving her room. And I think I only took like 5 or 6 steps, and the floor was really slippery and wet. It just rained, and my leg just like went all the way back and extended so far back like I'm like a ballerina, and it just fell down on it. It was crazy. It was insane. And then but Courtney was there. She went with me. She got in the ambulance with me to the hospital, and she really was just she went really beyond and above with all the duty.